I'm Charlotte Craven, Camarillo City Council member, and I'm going to talk to you about libraries in Camarillo. Camarillo's first library opened in 1895 in a hallway of a two-room schoolhouse with books provided by the City of Oxnard's library before there was a county library system. That was replaced by a larger library in the new Pleasant Valley School on Ventura Boulevard, which was replaced by another one where SciArt is now. In 1910, Miss Margaret Eddy was sent by the California Free Library System to form a county library branch. She received a lukewarm, even hostile reception, with some Oxnard residents claiming that she was sent by a gang in Sacramento wanting to set up a library political taxing machine. By 1915, Don Adolfo was no longer a supervisor. He and Miss Eddy petitioned the board to organize a county library system, won a unanimous vote, and in 1916, the first county branch library in Camarillo opened with 75 books inside a Camarillo mercantile company owned by Israel Hernandez. For the next 17 years, the Camarillo branch library was on the move. Books went to Mrs. Ruth Fell's sunroom, then to the Stein and Talley department store just west of the Lewis building, then to the Conejo Inn, a restaurant at the corner of Ventura Boulevard and Lewis Road. In 1933, branch librarian Adele Flynn moved the 350-volume Camarillo branch library into a room behind the Merrill Cafe facing Lewis Road. It was in the Coelty building, which also housed the post office, the Buckhorn Bar, and a card room. In 1941, the Camarillo Branch Library moved its 5,500 volumes into its own space in the new community center on Ventura Boulevard adjacent to the fire department, all of which was funded by the estate of Juan Camarillo. 21 years later, in 1962, a new 3,030 square foot Camarillo Branch Library was built by the county at the corner of Ventura Boulevard and Glen Drive, at a cost of $44,444. At the time, it housed a collection of 15,000 volumes. Camarillo incorporated in 1964 with a population of 10,600. By 1970, it had grown to 19,000. To accommodate the larger population, in 1974, the county built a new 15,600 square foot library on Ponderosa at Eston Street. It had a small community room for programs, a small children's room, and a fountain in the center of the reading room with a collection of 75,000 volumes and an annual checkout circulation of 162,000 volumes. When I was elected to the City Council in 1986, one of my early assignments was to an ad hoc library committee with Sandy Bush. We had no money, but we all recognized the need for a larger library. That committee ended, but the topic popped up during every election. By the late 1990s, the City Council was so eager to replace the library, we brainstormed about space, design, facilities, and technology. We hired an architect, an interior designer, to help us mesh our ideas into one vision that would be unique to Camarillo. By the time the Library Bond Act of 2000 was passed, we were ready to spring into action, and we contacted a company to analyze the existing facility and need. Gail Doy was hired as assistant to the city manager, and in March 2001, we initiated the grant process. The whole council was intimately involved in every decision. We wanted our library to be a place where residents would come for books, classes, technology, and community programs. A place where children would learn the value of reading, teens would be able to work and study together, and adults would linger. We modified some of the architects' and designers' suggestions and flatly rejected others. We each sat in every proposed chair, We inspected murals and a pirate ship for the children's area and the Gaudi's designs. We felt swatches of fabrics for the overstuffed chairs by the fireplace in the upper reading room. We scrutinized wallpaper samples. Nothing was approved unless all 5 of us agreed. Fortunately, our architect and designer knew people who created things for Disney, who built the motifs economically. On December 2nd, 2002, the state approved a grant of $15.6 million, which was the first and largest grant in that round of approvals, as well as the largest grant awarded from the bond issue and the next one. The city's local match was $10.4 million. Staff work began for purchasing land, completing an annexation, and doing an EIR. The county agreed to deed the city the Ponderosa site as its share. On March 31st, 2007, the new 65,000 square foot Camarillo Library opened on Las Posas Road at Fieldgate, featuring a spacious children's room with many themes for different ages. A youth area with a bench and towers, adult areas, including a fireplace and cozy nooks for reading, study rooms, separate rooms for adult literacy program and the Children's Homework Center, a cafe, and a large area for the Friends of the Library bookstore. The startup collection contained 411,000 volumes, as well as 160,000 multimedia pieces. By the way, within 4 short months of when a request went out, residents donated more than $1 million for new books. But there was plenty of room for growth, with many shelves holding signs that read, "Reserved for books not yet printed." Within 3 years, we realized that the county library system's funding formula took about $1 million more from the city's general fund to subsidize other branches than was allocated to the Camarillo branch, which forced us to break away. The Camarillo branch of the Ventura County Library System closed on December 30th, 2010, and the Camarillo Public Library opened on January 3rd, 2011, operated under contract by LSSI. Since then, we've received the library portion of property taxes from properties within the incorporated area, and general fund money goes to pay for the Camarillo Library. Libraries are not static, though. In 2006, we learned from newspaper headlines that a resident, Mr. Russell Fisher, passed away, leaving a bequest of $2.7 million to the library to develop business resources. The upstairs stacks were rearranged, many business-oriented materials and service subscriptions were purchased, a business librarian was hired, and the Russell Fisher Business Collection opened on May 22, 2013. The Ventura County Community Foundation holds the money in an endowment account. Interest is used for approved purchases and expenses. More recently, we expanded the young adult section. Library bond grant funding required cooperation with other government agencies, especially school districts. Our application said that if a high school were built nearby, our library would serve as its library. Rancho Campana High School opened in 2015 with no library due to the agreement. By then, we realized that the youth area was disruptive to the adjacent adults area. So we pushed out a wall and added a new 3,455 square foot young adult area with lots of technology, couches, and areas where high school students can study and socialize. And the previous libraries? The county gave the Ventura Boulevard site to the Pleasant Valley Recreation and Park District as part of Dizdar Park. The city bought the park from the district for $1 million, and the building will be raised in a park retrofit. The building on Ponderosa at Eston has been donated for a children's museum to Kids Stream.